Welcome to the show. What a bombshell. A newly unsealed court filing reveals new evidence from the criminal case against Donald Trump, a quote, increasingly desperate president who, while losing his grip on the White House, quote, used deceit to target every stage of the electoral process. This is a new court filing that was previously filed by Special Prosecutor Jack Smith, but has now been ordered released by the judge. And it reveals the desperate nature, the erratic nature, the unhinged nature of a failing then President Donald Trump, who was losing his grip on power and was willing to do whatever the hell it took to try to stay in power. Quote, "So what?" The filing quotes Trump as saying to an aide when he was told Mike Pence has been rushed to a secure location because the violent protesters are shouting, "Hang Mike Pence." Trump's reaction, "So what?" Another Trump quote, "The details don't matter." That's what Trump said when he was told by an advisor that a lawyer who was mounting his legal challenges wouldn't be able to prove the allegations in court because they were made up. Trump said the details don't matter. He wanted the challenges filed. He wanted everything going forward, including fundraising for this from his supporters, many of whom really couldn't afford to be giving Trump money for this absolutely ridiculous wild goose chase. Trump intentionally lied to the public, to state election officials, to his own vice president. If we believe this filing, it points to Trump knowing he didn't really win. We've asked this question rhetorically, but also in reality. Did Trump ultimately convince himself that he really won, delusionally deluding himself, or did Trump know he didn't win throughout this whole thing and was knowingly lying? This filing, this is one data point, this filing points to Trump knew he didn't win, he didn't care, he wanted Mike Pence to make an unconstitutional attempt to deny Joe Biden the victory. He wanted state officials to challenge or overturn results. He knew he lost, but he was still telling them, I don't care. You should do it anyway. You should do it anyway. Trump, according to this filing, privately described some of the very claims he was pushing publicly as, quote, crazy. Let that sink in. There were voter fraud claims that you knew were crazy, that I knew were crazy, that we knew when Rudy Giuliani would tout them in one of those COVID hearings where he gave people COVID. The hearings weren't about COVID. He had COVID at the hearings. We all knew they were crazy. Trump privately knew they were crazy. And yet people around Trump and Trump himself continued to push these lies. All of a sudden, J.D. Vance's non-answer during the debate the other day when he was asked, did Trump lose? It all of a sudden looks much, much worse, given this documentation that Trump knew all along that these were false and fraudulent claims. In the filing, Jack Smith calls out Trump's Waco, Texas rally. This is one of the other great things. It's in a way not good that these trials keep getting delayed. But in another way, it continues to allow Jack Smith to add more elements into the filings. In the filing, Jack Smith points to a rally Trump did in Waco, Texas, where he called the violent insurrectionists patriots and hostages and played that revised version of the national anthem sung by some of the J6 defendants. We called it the treason national anthem at the time, and Trump said he would pardon a bunch of them. That now is part of this filing. And maybe most importantly, this filing points to a sharpening legal focus on Trump acting privately rather than in his official capacity. This is going to be a critical aspect if and when this trial goes forward, which is that Trump's lawyers, as we've told you, have been arguing, including before the Supreme Court, that Trump has immunity for all or almost all of these actions because they were carried out as part of Donald Trump's role officially as president of the United States. This filing from Jack Smith contests that. It argues that none of what Trump was doing was as a government official, but was rather as a candidate, and therefore it would not be protected by immunity. The fraudulent elector schemes, arguing that Trump had a personal role there, not an official role as president, but a personal role. And therefore, it is not protected by immunity. Trump's social media use, his Twitter account, his Truth Central account, etc. That was all Trump the candidate, not Trump the president. And therefore, you can't cite immunity. Imagine for a moment if Trump's Twitter account ended up being his downfall. It would really be the icing on the cake. And finally, that Trump attempting to interfere with state electoral processes. Remember, I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break. The argument from this filing is that that was also Trump, the private citizen candidate for the presidency, not Trump, the sitting president of the United States. It is undoubtedly a convoluted and complex legal proposition to prove that, but it is clearly the argument that Jack Smith is making. The question I got from many of you about this filing overnight is, David, is this the October surprise that we've been wondering? Will it come? I don't know the answer to that. That this is certainly an October surprise, but is it the final October surprise? I don't know. And if I'm perfectly frank with you, I don't know that anyone who is still supporting Trump will be swayed by a filing that they will simply say, it's crooked Jack Smith working at the direction of Joe Biden. That's the storyline Trump has told, even though it's not true. I don't know that this will really sway too many people, but it is triggering one particular orange man. And that's what I want to talk about next. You know, in the past, every time I move to a new place or it's time to redecorate, the one thing I have no clue about is window treatments. What's the best color? What's the right type of blind? What about this weirdly shaped window? I don't know how to install them. And that's why I turn to 3-Day Blinds for blinds, shades, shutters, and drapery. Our sponsor, 3-Day Blinds, is the leading manufacturer of custom window treatments in the U.S., and my audience can buy one and get one 50% off. 3-Day Blinds has local, professionally trained design consultants who can come to your home, guide you on the right blinds for you. If you're not handy, no problem, because 3-Day Blinds will come to your house and install everything. And with over 45 years in business, 3-Day Blinds is the highest rated blinds company on Trustpilot. Right now, 3-Day Blinds is offering my audience, buy one, get one 50% off on custom blinds, shades, shutters, and drapery, even smart motorized products. For a free, no charge, no obligation consultation, go to 3dayblinds.com/Pacman. The link is in the description.